From the wide halls of the Galactic Council, Earth looked like a pale blue dot drifting in silence. It turned slowly, calm and quiet, surrounded by darkness. To most of the council members, it was not worth more than a passing glance. The galaxy was full of worlds brighter, richer and far more powerful. Jack Miller stood near the tall viewing window, his hands resting behind his back. He had watched star systems rise and fall for many cycles. Experience had taught him one simple rule: divided worlds never lasted. Earth, in his eyes, was the clearest example of that truth. "They fight among themselves," Jack said in a low voice. "Always have." Beside him stood Anna White, scrolling through old reports on a floating screen. Her face showed calm focus, but there was no warmth in her eyes when she looked at the data. She had studied Earth for years and reached the same conclusion every time. "They move slowly," Anna replied. "Too many leaders. Too many opinions. Too much noise." Around them, the council chamber hummed with quiet movement. Tall shapes, small shapes, beings of many forms passed between glowing tables and light-filled walls. Conversations floated through the air, touching on trade paths, distant conflicts and powerful empires. Earth was rarely part of those talks. When it was mentioned, it was usually as a warning. A world with potential that wasted itself. Jack remembered the first time he had reviewed Earth's file. The planet had shown promise long ago. Fast thinkers, curious minds, a strong will to survive. But that promise had been buried under endless conflict. Borders changed. Alliances broke. Progress stalled. "They never learn," Jack had said back then. Anna had agreed. The alert came without drama. A soft light blinked above one of the central tables. A data stream changed color. At first, no one reacted. Alerts happened all the time in the council chamber. Then a junior observer stopped walking. He stared at the display, his eyes narrowing. He adjusted the feed. Checked it again. "Council observers," he said, his voice tight, "we have confirmation of hostile contact." The room slowly grew quieter. Jack turned from the window. "Clarify." "The planet designated Earth," the observer said. "External forces have already entered its space." A ripple moved through the chamber. Not fear. Not surprise. Something closer to mild interest. Anna lifted her gaze. "Already attacked?" "Yes," the observer replied. "Initial contact confirmed." Jack exhaled slowly. That was fast. A council member nearby shook their head. They barely reached early space travel. What did they expect? Another voice added, "This is how it always ends." Anna brought the image of Earth into focus. The blue world still looked peaceful from afar. Clouds moved. Lights glowed on the night side. Nothing about it showed danger. "They won't last long," she said calmly. Jack nodded. "They will argue about who is responsible, who should lead. By the time they decide, it will be over." The council did not rush to act. There were no emergency votes. No calls for intervention. Earth was not part of the council. It had never asked to be. Rules were rules. Still, the observers watched. Data streams filled the air. Movements. Signals. Small changes in orbit. The attacking force did not broadcast threats. It did not send demands. It acted with quiet confidence. Jack studied the patterns. "They're testing Earth's response." Anna crossed her arms. "And they won't find much." Below, on Earth, the first signs of trouble reached human sensors. Strange objects. Unknown signals. Sudden disruptions in space systems. People noticed, but understanding came slowly. The council expected panic. Loud signals. Confused messages sent in every direction. But hours passed. "Where are the distress calls?" someone asked. The observer checked again. None detected. Anna frowned. "That's strange." Jack tilted his head slightly. "Maybe they haven't realized yet." "That won't last," Anna said. "Fear always finds a way." More time passed. The attacking force continued its advance. Small actions. Careful steps. Still no open response from Earth. Some council members lost interest and returned to their work. Others watched with mild curiosity, like observers waiting for an ending they already knew. Jack stayed. He did not know why. Perhaps it was habit. Or perhaps it was the quiet way Earth refused to react as expected. "They should be louder by now," Anna said softly. Jack said nothing. He was watching the human data more closely now. Communications on Earth were increasing, but not in the wild way he expected. Patterns were forming. Signals crossed borders that once blocked them. "That's odd," he muttered. Anna glanced at his screen. "They're talking to each other." "Yes," Jack said. All of them. Anna studied the feed. Military channels. Civil systems. Research networks. Lines that were once separate now overlapped. They must be confused, she said. Fear makes them reach out. Maybe, Jack replied. But the word felt weak. He had seen fear before. Fear was messy. Fear broke systems. This looked organized. The attack continued. No great strikes. No dramatic destruction. Just pressure. Probing. Testing limits. Earth did not fall. Jack felt a faint sense of discomfort. He pushed it aside. One day of resistance meant nothing. Many worlds had held on for days before breaking. Anna seemed less certain now. They're still standing. For now, Jack said. He returned his gaze to the blue world. It still looked small. Still looked fragile. Yet something about it felt different than before. The council assumed Earth would fall quickly. Jack told himself the same. But deep down, a quiet thought formed, one he did not yet dare to speak. What if they were wrong? And far below the council's halls, Earth continued to turn, unaware that the galaxy was watching, and judging, what kind of world it truly was. The reports kept coming, and with each one, a quiet tension spread through the Galactic Council chamber. What the observers saw did not match what they expected. Earth was not silent. It was not frozen in fear. Instead, its signals filled the data space in steady, ordered waves. Jack Miller stood at his station, eyes fixed on the shifting patterns before him. At first glance it looked like noise. But the longer he watched, the clearer it became. These were not random signals. They were shaped. Controlled. They're active, Jack said slowly. Anna White moved closer. Active how? Jack pointed to the streams crossing the display. Everywhere. Civil networks. Research lines. Defense channels. They're linking them. Anna's brows pulled together. That shouldn't be possible. Those systems don't usually work together. Usually, Jack replied. The council chamber grew quieter as more members noticed the change. A few returned to their stations. Others paused mid-conversation. The planet they had already judged was behaving in an unexpected way. On Earth, the reason was simple. People were talking. Not arguing. Not shouting. Talking with purpose. Sam Carter stood in a small room filled with screens. The room was not grand. It was not meant for history. But history was passing through it anyway. Sam's face showed strain, but his voice remained steady as he listened to reports from across the world. Send it to everyone, he said. No delays. Across the city, Laura King sat at another table, her hands resting on a glowing panel. She had spent years learning how systems failed under pressure. Now she used that knowledge to keep them working. We don't need control, she said into her channel. We need connection. Information flowed freely. Data that once took weeks to share crossed the planet in minutes. Scientists spoke directly to engineers. Leaders listened instead of ordering. No one pretended to have all the answers. Fear was there. It sat quietly in the background. But it did not lead. People remembered old mistakes. Times when pride had slowed them down. This time they chose speed and clarity. In the council chamber, an observer raised his voice. Earth's response time is increasing. Anna turned sharply. Increasing? Yes, he said. They are adjusting systems faster than projected. Jack crossed his arms. That's not how divided worlds behave. Anna watched the data again. She saw patterns she did not like, not because they were dangerous but because they were effective. They're acting like one body, she said. Many parts. One direction. The attacking force continued its pressure, but the expected signs of collapse did not appear. No wide signal breakdown. No flood of confused messages. Instead, Earth's signals became cleaner. They're organizing, Jack said quietly. On Earth, Sam leaned back for a moment, rubbing his eyes. Status. A voice answered, calm and clear. Systems holding. New link stable. Laura looked up from her screen. We're not faster because we're better, she said. We're faster because we stopped fighting each other. Sam nodded. Keep it that way. The words were simple but they carried weight. Back in the council chamber, doubt began to settle in. It was not loud. It did not announce itself. It simply lingered. Anna spoke first. We assumed they would waste time blaming each other. Jack replied, they skipped that part. The observers watched Earth's global activity rise and fall like a steady pulse. It reminded Jack of worlds that had survived longer than expected. Worlds that refused to break when pressure came. That fleet chose the wrong timing, someone said nearby. Or the wrong world, another added. Anna did not answer. She was watching a specific feed now. Earth was not just reacting. It was preparing. They're learning from every move, she said. Jack felt the same unease he had felt before, only stronger now. They're not strong, he said. But they're careful. Careful worlds were dangerous in their own way. On Earth, Laura watched a simulation reset again and again. Each time it ran better than before. Each time the system adjusted. We don't know what they'll do next, she said. Sam stood beside her. Neither do they. Outside, people went on with their lives, aware but steady. Power stayed on. Network stayed open. The planet did not shut itself away. In the council chamber, the realization settled in slowly, like a cold shadow. The attackers had expected a weak world. What they found was a world that refused to fall apart. Jack looked at Earth once more. It still looked small. Still looked quiet. But it was no longer unimportant. And for the first time since the attack began, the Galactic Council wondered if a mistake had already been made. The attackers expected fear. They expected loud weapons and rushed mistakes. What they did not expect was silence followed by change. Across Earth, systems that had once been built for peace began to shift in purpose. Not overnight and not perfectly, but with speed that surprised even the humans using them. Ben Scott stared at a screen filled with moving lines and numbers. He had helped design this system years ago to guide aircraft safely across busy skies. It was meant to prevent accidents. It was meant to save lives. Now it was something else. If we change the timing here, Ben said, pointing at the screen, we can make their sensors see space where there is none. Amy Foster leaned closer, her eyes tired but sharp. She had spent her career working on global communication networks. Her job had always been about clarity. About making sure messages arrived clean and unchanged. This wasn't built to block anything, she said. Ben nodded. Neither were mirrors built to blind. Amy paused, then slowly smiled. Let's try. They did not build new weapons. There was no time for that. Instead, they used what already existed. Weather systems, navigation tools, deep space listening stations, all of it was adjusted, linked, and reshaped. Signals were bent. Paths were altered. Space around Earth began to feel crowded. The first sign of success came quietly. One of the attacking ships slowed. On Earth, a small alert appeared on Ben's screen. He leaned forward, hardly breathing. Did you see that? He asked. Amy nodded. They corrected course. That means they saw something that wasn't there, Ben said. Or failed to see something that was. The attackers sent out more scans. Stronger ones. Faster ones. Humans responded by changing again. No plan stayed fixed for long. If something failed, it was dropped without argument. If something worked, it was shared instantly. Pride had no place here. Only results mattered. Across the planet, other engineers did the same. Power systems were adjusted to mask energy spikes. Old satellites were turned into moving shields of noise. Even forgotten machines were pulled from storage and given new purpose. The attackers grew cautious. From their view, Earth was behaving incorrectly. A world this divided should have broken under pressure. Instead, its responses became more refined with every attempt to test it. In the Galactic Council chamber, the change did not go unnoticed. Jack Miller watched the fleet's movement slow on the display. They're hesitating. Anna White frowned. Why? Jack did not answer right away. He was studying Earth's data patterns. Because they don't understand what they're facing. Anna folded her arms. Earth's technology is still weaker. Yes, Jack said. But their thinking isn't. On Earth, Amy rubbed her eyes and took a long breath. We're not stopping them, she said. We're making them think. Ben nodded. That's enough. A new alert flashed. They're launching probes, someone called out. Ben's fingers moved quickly. Then let's give the probes something interesting to see. The probes were small, fast, and quiet. They slipped toward Earth, expecting clear data. Instead, they found confusion. Signals overlapped in strange ways. Space appeared fuller than it was. Movement looked slower then faster then wrong. The probes adjusted again and again, burning energy with every correction. One probe drifted off course. Another went dark. The attackers paused. On Earth, no one cheered. There was no time for that. The work continued. Amy shared a new update across the network. They're adapting slower now. That's good, Ben replied. It means we're ahead. Across the planet, humans worked as one system without ever meeting. Each group added something small, something clever. Together, those small things formed a wall, not of metal but of uncertainty. In the council chamber, silence returned. They've turned defense into confusion, Anna said softly. Jack nodded. And confusion into protection. The attacking fleet stopped advancing. It held its position, watching a planet that refused to act like prey. On Earth, the sky remained calm. People still went to work. Children still went to school. The world did not look like it was under threat. But behind the calm, humanity had changed. Ben leaned back in his chair, exhausted. I never thought I'd use this system like this. Amy looked at the screen, where Earth signals moved in steady patterns. I never thought it would work. Ben smiled faintly. It works because we're not alone. Above them, the attackers waited, unsure. And far away, the Galactic Council watched a truth unfold that none of them had expected. Earth was not fighting to win. Earth was fighting to endure. And in that endurance, the attackers found something they could not easily defeat. The idea to speak came quietly, not from fear, but from understanding. Earth had slowed the attackers. It had confused them. But no one believed this could last forever. Force could return at any moment, stronger than before. Sam Carter stood in the center of a room filled with screens. Each one showed a different part of the planet. Data moved smoothly now, no longer wild or scattered. Humanity was thinking together. We can keep blocking them, someone said through the channel. For a while. Sam nodded. But we can't hide forever. Laura King leaned forward, her voice calm. They're watching us closely. Every move. Ben Scott and Amy Foster listened from another room. They had spent days bending systems, changing signals, creating confusion in space. They were tired, but their minds were still sharp. They don't understand us, Amy said. Not really. Ben looked up. Then maybe we explain. The room fell quiet. Laura turned toward the screen. Not a threat, she said. And not a request. Sam understood at once. A statement. Across Earth the idea spread. Not through orders but through agreement. If the attackers could think, then they could listen. And if they could listen, then words mattered. The message took time. Every word was chosen with care. Nothing was rushed. Nothing was added out of pride or fear. People argued at first, but not in anger. They argued because the words had to be right. This isn't about sounding strong, Sam said. It's about being clear. Amy adjusted the signal structure so it would be impossible to mistake for a weapon. Ben tuned the timing so the message would arrive clean and steady, without distortion. This system was built to connect people, Amy said softly. Let's use it that way. When the message was ready, no alarms were raised. No countdowns were shown. Earth did not try to make the moment dramatic. The signal simply left the planet and moved into space. It spoke in simple terms. It said Earth was aware of the presence in its space. It said humans did not seek war. They did not wish to conquer or destroy. But it also said one thing very clearly. This world was their home. The message explained that humans were many and different. That they argued and failed often. But when their home was threatened, they stood together. Not out of hate but out of care. We will protect this world, the message said. Together. There were no threats. No anger. No demands. Just truth. On Earth people waited. Not in silence but in quiet focus. Systems stayed active. Defenses remained ready. No one assumed words alone would solve everything. In the Galactic Council chamber, the signal arrived moments later. Jack Miller read it once. Then again. Anna White watched his face carefully. It's not a bluff, she said. Jack shook his head slowly. No. It's a choice. Around them, the council listened. Some expected fear hidden between the lines. Others expected pride. They found neither. They're not begging, someone whispered. And they're not threatening, another replied. The attacking fleet received the message soon after. Their systems translated it cleanly. There was no confusion in the words. No hidden code. No challenge. The fleet slowed. Commands paused mid-cycle. New orders were delayed. The world they faced did not match any record they had studied. This planet did not attack when it could have. It did not fall when it was pressed. And now it spoke without anger. One ship adjusted its position slightly, pulling back to reassess. Then another. On Earth, a quiet alert appeared on Ben's screen. He leaned forward. They're stopping. Amy exhaled slowly. They heard us. Sam closed his eyes for a brief moment. Not in relief but in readiness. Stay focused, he said. This isn't over yet. The fleet held its position, unmoving. It did not advance. It did not strike. Time passed. In the council chamber, the silence felt heavy. Anna broke it first. I've never seen this. Jack nodded. Neither have I. They should be afraid, Anna said. or angry. Jack looked at Earth's image, calm and blue. Instead, they're thinking. The message from Earth played again in the chamber. Each time it sounded the same. Steady. Honest. They stood together, Anna said quietly. Jack did not reply. He was watching the fleet data now. Small changes. Careful movement. The posture of something uncertain. On Earth, people continued their work. No cheers filled the streets. No celebrations were announced. Humanity knew better than to assume safety too early. But something had changed. The attackers were no longer in control of the moment. The message had done what weapons could not. It had forced a pause. Above a world that refused to shout or kneel, a powerful fleet waited, unsure. And across the galaxy, observers watched as a simple truth became clear. Earth did not need anger to stand firm. It needed unity. And that unity had been heard. The first sign came quietly. A single ship shifted its position, turning away from Earth by a small but clear angle. At first, no one was sure what it meant. Space was full of motion and small changes happened all the time. Then another ship moved. And another. In the Galactic Council chamber, a soft alert sounded. Jack Miller looked up sharply, his eyes fixing on the large display. Lines that had pointed toward Earth were beginning to bend away. Is that a formation change? Someone asked. The observer checked the data again, slower this time. No, he said. They're pulling back. The room went still. Jack stepped closer to the screen, his disbelief clear. He had expected many endings for Earth, but this was not one of them. Worlds like Earth did not cause fleets to retreat. Not without force. Not without loss. They're not regrouping, Anna White said, her voice low. They're leaving. One by one the ships increased distance. No weapons fired. No warning sent. No final show of power. The attacking fleet moved with care, as if afraid to make a wrong move. Jack's mind raced. They didn't break Earth, he said slowly. And Earth didn't break them. Anna folded her arms, staring at the data. Earth stood. On the planet below, the change was noticed almost at once. Ben Scott saw the movement first on his screen. He blinked, then leaned forward. They're moving away, he said. Amy Foster checked her own display. Her shoulders dropped slightly, not in relief but in release. They're really going. Across Earth, the same message spread. Quiet confirmations. Careful checks. No one wanted to believe it too fast. Sam Carter stood with his hands on a table, watching the global feeds. Maintain readiness, he said. Until they're gone. Laura King nodded. Agreed. Time passed slowly. Minutes felt like hours. The fleet continued its withdrawal, steady and controlled. When the last ship crossed a safe distance marker, no alarms sounded. Earth remained silent. There were no cheers. No sudden celebrations. People breathed. Some sat down where they stood. Some closed their eyes for a moment longer than usual. Humanity did not cheer because humanity understood what had almost been lost. Back in the council chamber, the silence felt heavy and strange. Conversations that usually filled the space had stopped. No one rushed to speak. Jack Miller stared at the empty space where the fleet's path had been. His expression held something close to shock. They assumed Earth would fall, he said quietly. Anna looked at him. So did we. Jack did not deny it. A council member finally spoke. This makes no sense. Earth is weaker. Smaller. Divided. Yes, Anna replied. And yet. The words hung in the air. They didn't win by force, another said. They didn't lose by fear, Jack added. The council replayed the final moments again and again. The pause. The message. The slow retreat. Every angle was studied. It was their response, Anna said. Not their weapons. Jack nodded. They didn't act like prey. Silence returned. The council froze in that silence, caught between what they believed and what they had witnessed. A planet they had dismissed had faced an attack and endured without collapsing. Earth had not broken. Jack felt a strange weight settle in his chest. For years he had judged worlds by patterns. Earth had followed none of them. He looked at the blue planet once more. It still looked small. Still looked fragile. But now it looked different. Not weak. Not loud. Just steady. And for the first time in the history of the Galactic Council, shock replaced certainty. They had not just witnessed a retreat. They had witnessed a mistake. One that would not be forgotten. The invitation came days after the last attacking ship had disappeared into deep space. It arrived as a clean and open signal, careful in tone and clear in meaning. The Galactic Council wished to speak with Earth. Not to judge. Not to warn. To listen. On Earth, the message was received with quiet attention. There was no rush to answer. Humanity had learned the value of patience. Mark Lewis read the signal slowly, his face calm but thoughtful. He had spent his life working with people from different places, learning how words could build bridges or burn them down. "They want a voice," he said. Sarah Green stood beside him, her hands folded. She had seen fear up close during the attack, but she had also seen courage in ordinary people. Nurses who worked without sleep. Engineers who shared everything they knew. Neighbors who helped neighbors without being asked. "They want to understand," she replied. "So we should speak honestly." They were chosen not because they were powerful but because they were careful. Because they listened before they spoke. When the connection opened, the chamber of the Galactic Council appeared before them. It was larger than any human building, filled with light and quiet movement. Jack Miller and Anna White stood among the observers, watching closely. The image of Mark and Sarah formed in the center of the chamber. There were no banners. No display of force. Just two humans standing side by side. Mark spoke first. His voice was steady, simple, and clear. "We thank you for inviting us." Sarah continued, her tone calm. "We speak for our world. Not as rulers. Not as heroes. As people." The council listened. They expected pride after survival. Or anger after attack. They heard neither. Mark spoke of Earth's history. Of mistakes made again and again. Of division, fear, and failure. He did not hide them. "We are not united all the time," he said. "We argue. We disagree. Sometimes we hurt each other." Sarah nodded. "But when our home was threatened, we remembered something important." She paused, letting the silence settle. "We remembered that this world belongs to all of us." Questions followed, calm but direct. "Why did you not strike back when you had the chance? Why did you not ask for help? Why did you choose words instead of force?" Mark answered slowly. "Because force was not the answer we wanted to give." Sarah added, "And because fear should not decide who we are." The council members exchanged looks. Some leaned forward. Others sat very still. Jack Miller felt something shift inside him. He remembered how sure he had been. How easily he had believed Earth would fall apart. "You adapted very quickly," Anna White said. "How?" Mark gave a small smile. "We stopped trying to stand alone." Sarah looked directly at the council. "Our strength is not in our machines," she said. "It is in our choice to stand together when it matters." The chamber grew quiet. The council spoke among themselves in low tones. The words were thoughtful now, not dismissive. Jack stepped forward. "Earth," he said, "you faced an attack without becoming what you feared. You defended yourselves without seeking control over others." He paused. "That is rare." Mark inclined his head slightly. "We are still learning." Anna spoke next. "The council once believed Earth was weak because it was divided." Sarah replied gently, "We believed that too." A soft ripple of understanding moved through the chamber. "We invite Earth," Jack said at last, "to take its place among the listening worlds. Not as a warning. Not as an example of failure. But as a voice." On Earth, the words spread quietly across the planet. People heard them in homes, in offices, in quiet streets. Some smiled. Some simply nodded. Mark answered for them all. "We accept," he said. With care. The connection slowly closed. In the council chamber, no one spoke right away. "They are still fragile," one member said softly. "Yes," Anna replied. "But they know it." Jack looked again at the image of Earth, turning slowly in space. "That is why they endure," he said. "They do not pretend to be strong alone." He folded his hands behind his back. "They stand together." And across the galaxy, Earth was no longer seen as small or unimportant, but as something far more powerful. A world that chose unity when it mattered most.